Hi, sir.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, everyone turn on your videos and sit straight. Open your notes. Hello. Only few people have taken permission to turn off the video. Remaining people are not taken. So turn on your videos and sit at one place. Open your notes. Okay. Good to see you all on Saturday evening. I every time expect at least 100 members, but it goes 70, 80. It's okay. Fine. So people, as I have shared something last Saturday, what is the last Saturday topic?
The power of compound effect.
Compound effect.
Compound effect.
Compound effect.
Compound
Power of
effect.
compound effect. Okay, nice. So today's session is completely different, which is I have been waiting to give this presentation from almost 6 months, but it required a lot of preparation, and at the same time, I need to understand so many things because the topic is little bit different, but at the same time, the most useful. Uh, Listen very carefully, look at my mouse movement and look at my hand gestures, facial expressions, then only you will understand the concept. And don't come to conclusion till the last slide. Even if you don't understand anything, also listen till the last slide. But once you understand what I'm going to share, and you can change everything in your life. Okay. So today I'm going to present some different science, which is going to be very useful for everyone and everyone almost. Okay. If you are a human being, then it is going to be useful. And this concept is something very important for everyone's life, as I said. And what that concept I'm going to talk about today. And for that, I need to take you back to your childhood days. I don't know whether you studied such concepts or not. Even if you studied also, maybe your teachers did not explain the way I am going to explain today. And even if they explain and you know also, still I'm going to present something new. So give your full attention here and let me start my presentation. Let me share my screen. Uh, Mute yourself and unmute yourself. Make sure be conscious about, I know some of that people are traveling, some of the people outside and also when you are traveling and when you're outside, I would recommend don't join the class if you are not able to take care of your mic. So if I come to anyhow, I can see your name whenever you speak something, I can see your name on my screen. And be careful. I have noted down few people names in the past. And if the same people again repeat the same thing, then I will completely report them from the Zoom and they don't even again enter into the Zoom classes in the future also, even if you want to. So be careful, everyone, those who have joined from mobiles and laptops, those who have started joining when they are in journey and all. Okay. Yeah. People, it's a very interesting. I will make it very interesting and I will make it more cinematic. So give your full attention here and keep your concentration. Don't get distracted and deviated. If you get distracted and deviated, you know, right? It's like a meditation. Bring back your focus back to breathing. Sorry, to the presentation, not breathing. In meditation, you bring back focus to breathing, but here to the presentation. Okay. So let me start then. Yeah. So let me keep it. Anyhow, you will not guess it. I know. But anyhow, anybody want to do wild guesses or random guesses this time? Just try, nothing will happen. Okay. By looking at the blank screen, you may not be able to. Let me go to some slide. Okay. Now, can you guess?
About
Fitness.
personality.
Physical activity.
About body physical activity.
Physical.
Healthy physics.
Muscle improvement,
Internal energy.
Okay.
muscle development,
Body
Healthy
building.
lifestyle.
To improve body building.
Personality development.
Okay.
Healthy
What
habits.
Okay.
Maintain healthy habits.
Mhm.
Cycle of humans.
What?
Cardiac cycle of humans.
Okay, then fine. So people, today I'm going to talk about human and about human, and it involves so many other things. But in the human particularly, I'm going to talk about one subject. I'll reveal that subject after half of the presentation. But before me revealing the main concept of today's session, I'll take you back to your childhood days where you learned about some of the basics in your science. So I think you have seen this kind of image in your science book. Generally, I think it represents a human, and female or male. Okay, don't take it. So generally, it's a human body. And can anybody guess how many cells are present in the human body? How many cells? Okay, let me ask about the brain. How many neurons are present in the brain? You know answer.
100
You don't know.
trillion cells, sir.
Countless.
No, no.
70 trillion.
The people who have attended to my
86
Saturday
infinity.
session,
86 billion.
86 billion
86
neurons. 86 billion neurons. Okay, you have know that. Billions. Can anybody tell me how many zeros will be there for billion? Billion. Okay, tell me first million. How many?
10 lakhs, sir.
6 to 7.
6 zeros.
10 lakhs
7
million.
7 zeros.
9 zeros
Seven.
for billion, sir.
1
Okay,
billion
10
7
to
zeros.
the 10 to the power of 6 is a 1 million. Okay, 10 to the power of 6 is a 1 million. 10 to the power of 9 is a 1 billion. 10 to the power of 12 is a 1 trillion.
Trillion.
Okay, 1 trillion means you need to keep almost how many zeros? 12 zeros. But a human body consists of almost 50 trillion cells. Trillion cells. It is going to be a very big number if you write it in your notes. Okay, human body contains 50 trillion cells from top to bottom. And if you know about cells and all, then you might aware of in your childhood. I don't know whether you have studied the cell related kind of concept or not, but I'll take you back to your childhood and I'll give you some clarity about cell. Why? Because you need to understand the cell analogy and cell, structure and all. Then only you will be able to understand what I'm going to talk today's concept. And this particular presentation is going to change your life if you listen very carefully about everything. So as I said, human body consists of almost 50 trillion cells. And you can see the next image that in the entire body, complete human body from top to bottom is covered with the cells only. Everywhere cell is only present. And because of that cell only, you got this particular shape and structure. So, and it is very difficult for us to know about every cell, means 50 trillion cells. It is very difficult for us to also write down that number in the notes. So let's take one cell in particular. The cell look like this. Okay, when you zoom out the cell, like when you will see this kind of particular structure. And here there are different terminology. We don't have to go through each and everything because we are not the biologist, but I will try to talk about few things which are very important. If you see in the inside of the cell, the inside of the innermost circle is the nucleus and outermost circle is the membrane. Okay, membrane is nothing but the skin which covered the entire cell inside or nucleus. So if you go in detail, when you just open the cell inside, you will see the nucleus and the outside is a cell membrane, and in between you have mitochondria. These things you might have learned, but this is what generally it look like. And as I said, your human body is consist of 50 trillion cells. Out of that, one cell we have taken. In that one cell, we have opened that cell and we have seen in the middle there is a nucleus. And what exactly happens when you open the nucleus? What exactly is going to be there? Okay, inside the cell there is a nucleus. Inside the nucleus we can see the chromosomes. Okay, the chromosomes, inside the chromosomes you will have the DNA. Okay, inside the chromosomes you will have the DNA. And what exactly DNA is about? DNA is about your genetic coding. Okay, genetic structure and how it creates and all. I'll tell you. Just you remember this flow. Okay, from cell to nucleus, nucleus to chromosomes, chromosomes to DNA. And there I'll talk about something very important. Okay, so in each DNA, if you see, this is the chromosome and it's a coupled chromosome. Okay, and this chromosome contains DNA and the protein. Okay, DNA and protein. So generally, I don't know whether you're aware of this concept or not. We'll go back to how we born. Okay, so just imagine that a father and mother, and how many each contribute to form a small cell called zygote. Do you know? Did you remember the childhood chromosomes? How many chromosomes? Male
23, 23.
23, 23. Okay, so each member, okay, male and female contribute towards a 23 chromosomes to formation of our body or our small cell. We consider it as a zygote initially, and that converted as an embryonic cell, and that cell will convert into embryonic cell, nothing but a small cell first and foremost, you will be a one cell, and then you started becoming more and more cells, and now you have become almost 50 trillion cells. But initially, when you are born as a one cell, and that one cell inside nucleus, that nucleus contains chromosomes. So what happens? Your mother is giving you 23 chromosomes, your father is giving 23 chromosomes, and that becomes a 23 paired chromosomes. And each chromosome inside, as I explained, is a DNA structure will be there. Okay, each chromosome, now we have a DNA structure, and the color you are going to get, and the height, and your hair color, lip, eye color, and everything, lot of things are going to be encoded. The details of your physical structure and your abilities and all will be encoded in the DNA, and that is we called as a genes. We are getting the genes from our parents. And then you understood now so far the genes concept, right? How we got so far the genes and all. Our entire encoding system happens in this particular DNA. And each cell contains the DNA, right? As I said, the cell is a one smallest particle, and in each cell we have a DNA. And you know how much the DNA size is going to be if you put it in a straight line? It is going to be 6 feet. Okay, almost it is going to be 6 feet in each cell. And understand how many 6 feet are going to be there in every cell of out of 50 trillion cells. And each and every DNA is going to have some information about us, about everything in our lives. Okay, so generally think of our body consists of 50 trillion cells, and each cell forms different things in our body. So some cells are contributed to our brain, some cells are like, if you take the hand, then these are all the cells contributed towards forming the hand and heart. In the same way, each cell will take care of its own duty. Like, if you know, right, generally there are some group of cells will form as a heart, and they'll take care of the heart functioning and brain functioning, like that. There are different cells presenting at different body parts will contribute towards something, and all the 50 trillion cells work as a community. Okay, as a community, to make our life living. Clear? So now let's understand, generally we got our genes from our parents, but generally a lot of times now you see, right, when you go to hospital also, so many times, okay, your parents had this issue, that's why you started suffering with this, because your information is encoded in your genes from your, which you got from your parents. But that's not what the story is all about. Generally, I talked about we have cells, we are all the combination of the cells, but what differs the coding in the DNA is going to be something we are going to discuss today. And that is what changes every perspective in our life. Okay, so there was a study. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, so there was a study conducted, and what the study was, the scientist name called Bruce Lipton, he took one cell, the cell name called embryonic cell. The cell is also called as a stem cell, if you have known that stem cell therapy and all like that. So what is a stem cell? Is nothing but when you take one cell and take it, and it will divide and create more number of cells, like it will produce more and more number of cells. If you take one cell, what this scientist did was he took one stem cell and he put it in a that petri dish. We call that jar as a petri dish, and he kept in that petri dish. And then what he did was he kept it alone. And after 1 week, the one cell has divided into almost identical 30 cells. Okay, 30,000 cells. One cell, he within 1 week, what he happened was when he put it in a petri dish, it became 30,000 cells. And what he did was it was only one cell has divided, and it's like a copy paste like that. It became 30,000 cells. And he took 3 different petri dishes, and he kept 10,000 in 3 different petri dishes, means a particular dish vessel. And then what he did was he changed the chemical structure, the the fluid. He added one fluid in the each petri dish, and he added the cells in each different petri dishes. Here the same cells, because the copy paste cells, right, every cell has the same DNA, same genes, and he kept it inside the petri dish. And what exactly changed was he changed the chemical in the each dish. Okay, he changed the chemical. And in the chemical we call it as a biochemical, and we also call it as a culture liquid or culture fluid. Means the environment of the cell is that whatever the cell is present in the chemical, right, that is called as a culture fluid. And he made little bit changes to the cultural that fluid. And then what exactly happened is, in the petri dish A, or one petri dish 1, he formed a muscle. Okay, cells formed the muscle, and the same cells put it in a different chemical formed the bones, and the same cells put it in the third dish, the little bit chemical changes he did, and he formed the fat. So identical cells, same genes, same cells, but when the chemical is changing, the functionality or the structure or the usage of the cells are going to be changed. And he created muscles in the first dish, second dish bones, and third dish fat. So you understand here what is changing here, not the cells or the genes, the environment around the cell. If that changes, then what exactly cell is going to become changed? You got it clear so far? So the chemical is changed, the environment of the cell is changed, and because of that, the cell itself has changed. Okay, cell itself has completely changed. And now you understand, generally the genes will not do anything on its own. Cells will not do anything on its own, but the environment around it will make the cell what to do and what not to do. You got it? Your environment is controlling your genes, not your genes are controlling your environment. This is the concept of today's session. And today's session is called as a epigenetics. Generally, we all know that genes, but today I'm going to introduce one new science. If you understand this new science, then you can rewrite your own destiny and future. And what this science is talking about, you are not controlled by the genes. You are not controlled by the genes. Generally, we think that we are all controlled by the genes, and because we got the genes from our heredity and we can't change anything about our lives. Okay, my father had a cancer and then I'll be also getting the cancer. My father had a diabetes and I'm also going to get the cancer. No, genes, maybe you got the genes from your parents only, but genes will not decide whether you'll get the cancer or not, but the environment around you will change. So in this, what changed from the petri one dish to other dish? What has changed from one dish to other dish?
Environment has changed.
Environment. That is a chemical change, right? The chemical surrounded by the a few cells is something changed, and because of that, the cell functionality completely changed. In the same way, as we have seen our entire body is filled with one chemical. What is that chemical? The fluid.
Biochemical.
What is that fluid we call it as from top to bottom?
Hemoglobin.
The hemoglobin, what we call?
Blood.
Blood. Okay.
Blood.
So understand now, in this
Yes.
experiment, they have used some chemical. That chemical is equivalent to our blood, and our blood is something, the chemical, which are all completely surrounded by the cells from the top to bottom. You're getting? The blood is there in our body from top to bottom and is completely occupied in the cells. Okay, there are a lot of cells from top to bottom, right? And now for our cells, the chemical is the blood. For our cells, the chemical is the blood. And now I will be talking about the science. So here, what controls the fate of the cells?
Blood.
The environment. Environment for our body is inside is our blood. For every cell, our environment to our every cell is our environment is the blood only. So imagine that your blood is containing so many different chemicals, right? As I said, the blood chemistry. So the blood chemistry is something which changes the cell. Okay, that controls the cell. Blood chemistry that controls the cell, or whatever the fate of the cell. Generally, I'll talk about this in future. But imagine, remember this all the details, then all will be connected at the end. Okay. So what controls the fate of the cell? We have seen in the experiment, and in that experiment, the fluid or the chemical which is controlling, and that is the environment. Okay. And then next come to, as I said, the human body is completely filled with that chemical called the blood, and the blood filled with different things. As you eat the right food, then you will get a right amount of blood and right proportionate blood. If you are drinking the alcohol, then your blood contains the chemical which contain the alcohol percentage, and if you smoke, then your blood contains the smoking particles. And else cocaine and whatever the drugs which you take, the healthy food, whatever you take, that will be completely added to the blood, and the blood is something circulating from top to bottom, and your cells are surrounded by the blood, and that decides whether that cell is going to be cancer cell, that cell is going to be diabetic cell, that cell is going to be normal healthy cell. So generally your blood chemistry is going to decide what exactly is going to happen in your life in terms of cells. Now, right, generally why you get the cancer? Because of the cancer cells, right? You will get some cells, and because of that only you will get a cancer cell. Normal cell will be converted as a cancer cell. How? Because the gene, as I said, inside the cell nucleus, inside the nucleus, DNA is there, right? The DNA structure will change when your blood chemical changes. And that's where you started getting that normal cell will be converted as a cancer cell. You got it? Now I will explain you in detail what exactly is going to happen generally. So as you have seen that, what controls the blood chemistry? That we have seen cell fate controls by the blood chemistry. But what controls the blood chemistry? Can anybody guess?
Our daily habits.
Food intake.
Food.
Guess more. I have shared a lot of times.
Brain. Food, sir. Food.
Somebody mentioned before that.
Brain.
Brain. Okay. So your brain controls the blood chemistry. Okay, as you have seen, right, in last our presentations, I've explained that dopamine levels and serotonin levels and oxytocin levels and adrenaline, stress hormones and all different chemicals I've explained, right? So those are all the chemicals releases by your brain only, and what chemicals to be released decided by your brain and the mind. And that's where one second, mute yourself. So that particular brain chemistry, okay, sorry, brain is going to decide the blood chemistry. And now suppose I'm feeling so happy now, and when I'm feeling happy, what chemical my brain releases?
Dopamine.
Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, these kind of chemicals are released. Then my blood is now with a full of oxytocin and very good hormones. Then what happens? The cells surrounded by the good hormones, my blood, okay, my blood is filled with the good hormones, and then my cells will be more healthy, and that's why I look so energetic and so happy, and every time when you see me, my face is glowing like anything. And suppose I'm feeling so stressed and I'm having a lot of fear to speak in front of this many members, then what exactly happens in my brain? What kind of chemical released by brain?
Cortisol.
Cortisol. And one more, adrenaline and cortisol. So these chemicals, what happens? They will also make your blood poisoned, as I mentioned. And when you're over tensed and over stressed and over panic and get a lot of fear and get negative thinking, depressed and all, at that time, you get these kind of chemicals called adrenaline, cortisol, stress hormones will be released. And now what happens when the chemical releases? Then that will go to your blood, and blood will get poisoned. And now that poisoned blood is surrounded by the, cells are surrounded by that poison blood. And now these cells inside that cell, the poison blood will enter into inside the cell and enter into the inside the nucleus, and that's where it changes the gene expression. Okay, generally you don't have any particular, initially you don't have any cancer, but because of the poisonous chemical which is entering inside your body and enter into the gene, and it is changing the gene expression and then making you to get that cell is getting converted as a cancer cell, and that cancer cell is getting more and more spreading across it. And then one cell is like, as you know, right, one rotten tomato is going to rotten every tomato around it. So like that, once you started getting one small cancer cell, and it converted into normal more and more cancer cells. And now, as you know, right, generally why I say that don't watch cricket and all, every ball is going to create a lot of excitement in you and dopamine in you, and it is going to create so much. And what is happening? You are mostly there is a lot of stress is building up in you that what is going to happen and all. Then what happened? If you are playing the game, then you will be doing some action, you will be taking some action. When you take the action, then the stress will be released, and that will be converted as a normal energy only. But unfortunately, you are not taking the action, you are getting over stressed and panic, and that chemical is being released and enter into the cell. And then you started having the problem with the health. Okay, 1 minute. Yeah, so now you understand blood chemistry is controlled by your brain, and your brain is controlled by your mind. Your mind is controlled, and it produces the thoughts and then feelings and emotions. And imagine that every day you are getting the negative thoughts, negative feelings and negative beliefs. And then what is happening? For everything you started thinking negatively, then when every time when you are thinking negatively, then your brain is releasing so much of harmful chemicals in your body. 1 minute. Sorry. So let's now understand with a lot of scientific research what exactly these cells have done and how it is going to relate it to our life. As I explained the concept of epigenetics, epigenetics is the science of how environment, beliefs, and emotions and lifestyle choices influence your gene expressions. Okay, it's like your DNA is like a hardware. Okay, your DNA is like a hardware. Whatever you are going to do in terms of emotions and feelings and thoughts and lifestyles is going to be the programming, and that decides how that gene is going to perform. Generally, the gene is there to do some action, but unfortunately, because of your lifestyle choices, it is going to do something harm to you. That's how the epigenetics. Genetics nothing but the genes which are present in your body. Epi means abo genes. Okay, and genetics and genes are all something we used to think that that is what controls our life. No, epigenetics are the ones which are controlling our life, and epi means abo genes, not the genes, something beyond the genes. What is it beyond the gene is your mind. Okay, your belief system, your emotions and your thoughts and the environment around you are inside the body environment. As I said, what is the environment to the cell is the blood only, right? Inside the body, what is the environment to the blood? The cell is the blood. In the same way, what is the environment to us? The people around us, the society around us, and the place and the where we live in, and our house, and all these things comes under. So I'll talk about this environment related also. But now understand, epigenetics is the concept, is a new science which is coming in field, and lot of your diseases can be cured by this concept called epigenetics. Unfortunately, so far all the entire medical industry was designed based on the genetics concept, not epigenetics concept. That's why whenever you get any health issues, they give you the pills and the medicine and all, but that's not what is controlling you, and that's not what is curing you, but something else is curing you. As I explained in my previous presentation also, as in terms of placebo effect, your mind is curing you. And here in the same way, your mind is the one which is causing the diseases in your life, because of your wrong thinking, because of your wrong environment, and that is what creating the issues in your life. And if you correct the mind, you can correct your life, right? So that's what the epigenetics concept is about, and I will show you with the scientific evidence. Okay, so as I said, genes don't cause cancer. What exactly happened was, previously people used to think that when there is a family member having any cancer cell, as I said, cells from your parents only are getting the genes, chromosomes, and that will be transferred to you. The genes will be transferred to you. But what they did was, like, in their family, they have a history of cancer in their entire family from their ancestors. And the moment when one person born in the family, what they did was, they just sent that small kid when he was small, they sent to the other family, and then that person was adapted by the other family. And then what they did was, they conducted the study after 40-50 years, and then found out there was no cancer cells present in that adapted person. And in one more study, what they did was, they have taken, generally the entire family is having the cancer, and they have taken one small kid from the orphanage, and they started taking care of the person as adaptive son. And after 15-20 years, they started finding the cancer cells in that person. And you see, this person don't have any cancer before they tested in their family members also, that person did not have any cancer. But the person, when he was adapted into the cancer family, then he also started getting the cancer cell. And what changing here, the environment is causing the person to change his DNA and change his cell and change his gene, and he started experiencing the cancer cells now. So you might be understanding, right? Generally, the people who are in that family started having certain healthy habits, some food habits, and they started having some environment. As I said, everything is energy in our life. And suppose I am having the cancer, and I started having some cancer energy, and that will spread on to my environment also. And that person started having the lifestyle of the parents who had a cancer, and also the environment and the thinking process also, everything is started influencing that person, and that changed his biology inside, and that made him to get the cancer, even though he did not get any cancer cells from the parents. But so here you understand, this is what genes don't cause not only cancer. They have conducted the study with the type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease and so many other diseases also I'll be talking about. And this is what generally happening, but unfortunately we don't understand this concept, and then we started believing that, okay, my parents had this problem, and this is a most important problem, that breast cancer in women. And a lot of times when their mothers have a breast cancer, and these people also assume that they will also get the cancer. But if you started assuming, then your mind creates that. That's the power of your mind. And if you started believing positively, and if you surrounded yourself by the positive environment and positive health life choices, then genes will get reversed. Even though you got a cancer cell inside from your parents, but if you change your lifestyle, if you change your mindset, then everything else can be changed. So this is the one study which was conducted, and here it was clearly shown that it's the environment and the upbringing and something around us is changing our cells to become a cancer cells, but not actually the cancer cells. So there was a one beautiful study, and here understand, as I said, you get the different genes from your parents, right? Genes from your parents. So here there was a study conducted by one, in the rats, we call them as mice. So you see this small particular mice or the rat, what they happened was these rats are completely different rats. They look in a yellow color. Okay, these rats are yellow color rats. And also these rats in very big in size, the very fat rats. And also these particular rats has a one gene. Okay, the gene called agouti gene. Okay, you can see the gene was came from their parents to these particular rats that called as agouti. Agouti means when this gene is present, they become very obese. They are very obese, and also they are always having a very lazy behavior. That kind of gene it is. So it is a mother produced the agouti, means offspring, means it gave birth to the small rat, and here it directly give the birth. And the second one what did was they have taken two types of in the first time when it is giving the birth to first kid, they have not done anything to control that gene. Agouti is a gene which is going to pass from generations to generation, and all the particular rats will look like a yellow color and very fatty kind of rats. But in the second time when the agouti, the mother mouse was in pregnant, and what the scientists did was they given some supplements to around like they gave some kind of B12 kind of vitamins and some kind of healthy food, and they have given lot of greeny vegetable kind of food to that rat. And then after that when it gave the birth to that particular, and they give normal, mice means when we, what kind of rats we see in our daily surroundings, we see brown color or black color kind of mouse, right? So that kind of life is given by the second time. Why? Because this time they have taken care of the food control. And what exactly happened when the mice is getting the different food which is controlling the agouti, and this second rat did not get this gene. It's supposed to get the gene, but the gene was completely eliminated from this body, and then now it get a different shape. So if you see here, I'll show you. So this is the picture of actually it's supposed to born like the first image, but when it was supplied healthy nutrition and healthy proper diet and right amount of food and proper supplements, then it gave the birth to actually the second kind of mice. So that means even though you are having cancer, even though you have some kind of different genes, but if you can take care of your health properly in terms of taking care of the diet and exercises and taking care of your environment in a right way, then you can eliminate that kind of negative genes which are not going to serve you and can give you the better life. So this is what the study was conducted and explained here. 1 minute. Yeah. And here one more thing also, generally they have conducted one more study, and in this study what happened was like, generally in this first image, when the mother gave the birth to the small rats, and the mother started licking and started taking care of the particular baby, and it started what we say that in English, started taking care of grooming and all, okay, licking and grooming, and it started showing a lot of affection towards that small kids and it's the babies. And then they started went on to track the people, the small mouse become big mouse, and the mouse which got a lot of love from the particular mother, they did not have any much elevated levels of stress, and their health is also so good, and they have very perfect balanced life, and they have very least diseases, and it had a lot of longer life. But whereas in the second experiment what they did was like they did not allow the rat to take care of that particular pups, or we call it as a small rats. And then these rats went on to become so aggressive, and they went on to become emotionally very less balanced, and they started having a lot of stress levels and so many these kind of problems. So imagine now, this is what generally applicable to our human beings also when the woman is pregnant. And when the pregnant woman nowadays started smoking and drinking and late night parties, eating junk food and all, Generally what you are eating is all the genetically modified food, whatever you are eating in terms of biryani and outside food and all, right? Generally they're all genetically modified. When you are consuming the genetically modified food, and inside your baby is going to get that particular food, and then it is going to change the gene expression, it is going to change the genes expressions, and that is going to cause a lot of health issues. And when you are too much stressed, when you are pregnant, and when you are too much stressed, and we are going through a lot of abusiveness in the family and a lot of problems, that will have huge impact on your development of the baby inside. And once it born also, it is going to have so many health issues which they are going to encounter in their life. And this is what generally people now don't think that, okay, I am enjoying my life, but what exactly they started understanding that your genes are going to be, whatever the lifestyle habits which you maintain is going to be passed to your grandchildren also. And now you are getting from your grandparents, and now you are going to give the similar kind of genes. And generally think of like your hardware is something very solid, and you have given very good solid hardware program to your next generation, and they can write a very good program on top of that. But if you are passing a very bad genes to them and very bad DNA to them, then that's why a lot of times you see, right, okay, these people are lucky because they are learning everything so much faster, because they are very, they got with that genes and all. And it could be also same for you. Maybe your own grandchildren are going to scold you, and started saying something that, because of whatever the mistakes which you are going to do is going to affect your own children, and at the same time your own grandchildren, and it is going to pass on like that for the generations, because the same genetic code is getting copied from generations to generations. And in that case, generally, suppose if I got a very good genes from my parents, then I don't have to study that much long enough, because I can easily grasp the things, because I already have enough of my genes which are going to control a lot of activities in my body and brain. But if I got a very less effective genes and less effective cells, then I have to struggle a lot to get what I want in my life. But no matter what happens, your destiny is not decided by your genetics. They are all decided by your epigenetics, means above the genes, that how you maintain your mind and life and lifestyle. So these are the studies conducted. And now you see that generally you also, when you are taking care of your kids and all, make sure to have give I will be talking about this concept in the next presentation, which is in depth of parenting, and also about I'll talk about some other concept which is something new also for you. But for now, you understand this is what happens, and we can see that genes expression changing the way we get treated by our parents and our society. And because of that, it is going to impact our life in the future, not now. After 20 years, 25 years, when you are going through some kind of problem, then you get more depressed. You and your partner is same situation, but you get more depressed than other person. Why? Because of the kind of upbringing which you had in your childhood. Okay. So now, as I said, environment is not just physical in terms of what with whom you are surrounded by. Environment includes the people you spend time with, and this is the most of the problem. Generally, we are all surrounded by the negative people for the sake of friendship and so many other things also. But as I said, every time, whatever the interaction which you are doing with the people, that is changing your genes inside. If you are spending good time with the good people, that is changing, your genes are getting changed inside in a good way. And if you are spending your time with the bad people, your genes are getting changed in the bad way. So much be careful with the people you spend with, and don't surround yourself with the negative thinkers, because they will be making your life more miserable, and your genes will be completely passed on to the next generation in the negative way. And the words you hear, as you see, right, a lot of times which people, most of the time, you will be listening a lot of negative words only from the people, and they always discourage you, and they will always say that you can't do such things. When you are surrounded by that kind of people, then it is going to impact your life in so many negative ways. So be surrounded by the good people, and be surrounded by the right words. And as you see, generally, that's why I said, like, hear the good words by listening to podcast and audiobooks, that can have good impact in your life. That is also one kind of surrounding. And media you consume. And I know before joining in English therapy, how your life would have been and how your media consumption would have been. But after that, I'm trying to control this from my sessions and whatever the words which I use here. And hopefully now you're not getting enough time, because I am checking every day your habit reports and all. That's why you are thinking that, okay, I don't want to fill my habit report with zero. At least I'll do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And there you're cutting down your social media. So it's okay. There is nothing wrong in social media. But before joining in our class, like, what kind of content you used to consume? And now you are using the social media only, but what kind of content you are consuming, that is changed. And because of that, you are not only improving your communication skills, you are changing your genes inside. Your DNA is getting changed, and that is going to helpful for your future generations. Even though you have already given the birth, also still, as I said, your kids are going to surrounded by you. When you are positive person by consuming positive content, your kids also get that positive nature automatically. So that's how English therapy is not only helping you, it is helping your future generations also. So that way, I am just restricting your social media consumption. And now onwards, think about, okay, whenever I'm consuming negative content, my genes are getting turned out to be a negative genes, and that is going to impact not only my life, but at the same time people around me. And now you don't have to think that, okay, now I'm happy. No, you never knows when. As I said, you have already some of the cells, that cells are acting like a good cells now. But when you are constantly entire your body is filling with a lot of poisonous blood, then it will automatically turn it around cancer cell, diabetic, and a lot of other cells. So be careful with what you are consuming in terms of food, in terms of media also. And especially media is placing very crucial role nowadays. So be careful in terms of social media platforms. And I could see a lot of times it's a trend now, for every negative reel people tag us only, that saying that he's a lazy person, he's a negative thinker, he's a depressed and anxious and all. Don't let somebody tag you for negative things, and don't tag your own self also, and don't feel that, okay, this is for me, like that. Never ever associate yourself with any negative things. Even though you are negative, still you change, try to change yourself, but don't label yourself that I'm negative and all. That is going to cause, now you have seen, right, it is going to change your biology inside. And once it changes, then no matter how much you are trying hard to be healthy, then your health will be completely spoiled. And inner dialogue, generally a lot of times I see this is the inner dialogue most of the people have in a negative way only. Every time their entire self talk is negative, and they don't even aware of that self talk is in negative. They always say that, okay, I'm not good speaker, I'm not good English communicator, and I don't understand this complex maths, and I hate maths, and I hate this food, and I am not good, and I don't look good, and nobody likes me. These are all the negative self talk is every time when you're feeding to your mind. As I said, mind controls the gene activity, mind control your brain chemistry control the cell, and cell inside then controls the genes and DNA. And then now every time when you're programming your mind with the inner self talk negatively, then most of the things happens in a negative way only. So be conscious and use wisely the positive self talk, that could really have a huge impact on your health in a positive way. So this is the environment, these are all the ways you can impact. And in your own body environment, surrounded by people also, that is also environment, and you have to decide what exact the environment you want to be fit into, so that you can have a better life and better lifestyle. Okay. And different lifestyles which you can have, okay, the examples of lifestyle which influence the diseases. And as I said, like your lifestyle choice also have a lot of impact on your gene expression. And type 2 diabetes, this is a one type of diabetes which almost no, nowadays India is the highest, having highest number of diabetic patients. Why? Because of the poor lifestyle choices which they make. And as you know, first and foremost thing is high sugar consumption. From the childhood itself we have this addiction towards tea, and we don't drink tea as a tea, and we feel it as, like, a lot of people keep it as a status, it's a emotion and all. It's okay, you will get that emotion, and then after that you'll get the diabetes also. But make sure to consume in adequate, okay, if you have that addiction. But I would say, if you want to add, just remove the sugar from it, and then try to make your food less sugar, and also less oil, so that you will have a very good health. And what happens generally, as I said in the compound effect presentation, when you are every day taking, you may not die immediately, and you may not get the diabetes immediately. It compounds, the sugar levels in your body and your blood will compounds to certain level. And as I said, now when you take the tea, what happens? The tea is having some chemical structure, right? Chemical, and the chemical is containing some sugar molecules. And what happens? But that will mix with the blood, and now your blood contains a sugar. If it is exceeds, then it enter inside the DNA, and then it changes, and it creates that diabetes. Okay, diabetics. So be careful, and make sure to avoid unnecessary sugars and eating sweets and junk food outside. It is causing a lot of diabetics patients. And not only this, alcohol consumption, okay, beer contains a lot of sugars, and then that also have, and a lot of people, this, I don't know what they get out of drinking soft drinks and cool drinks. People, cool drinks and soft drinks are more dangerous than the alcohol, and it contain a lot of pesticides, and at the same time adding a lot of sugars. So make sure to avoid it, because unnecessarily you are changing your life into a very miserable thing, and be careful with that. And heart diseases, and now everybody likes to eat a lot of junk food outside, which contains so much of oil, And now in our houses also people make that every oily food and oily breakfast and all. And what happens is over a period of time, your blood, as I said, contains this oil enters, and blood and oil may not mix together, and it will form somewhere. And if it is saturated fats and unsaturated fats are the concept is there. So your blood is not getting completely dissected. Okay, by your oil is not getting dissected. What will happen? It will form as a blocks inside, and that will block your arthritis and so many different walls in your heart, and that can create a lot of problems in terms of cardiovascular diseases or heart diseases. And nowadays young people also getting this kind of diseases because of the mothers who are not taking care of the kitchens properly. And then every when I go outside also, generally for outside normal, we see the families also coming out and eating outside thinking that that's where they can eat some good food. So people, if you are a family member and any person, make sure to take care of your food and eat. We are the bachelors and we are the one who never eat outside. And nowadays, when we are seeing the housewives, they are thinking that we are getting rest. No, you are taking care of. If you are looking for the rest, then you are keeping your entire family is in very big risk. So don't let the people, and whatever you want to eat, okay, even though it's oily also, but still you cook with a good oil so that you can have some. Maybe sometimes you don't want to control your hungriness or maybe the cravings for that, but at least prepare and then do it. Otherwise, you'll have to pay a huge price for your health issues. And then, as I said, cancer, as the entire presentation took, it took the example of cancer only. So nowadays there are a lot of people are getting cancers, and even small kids also getting cancer. And we think that what these people have done the mistake. No, they have not done any mistake, but their parents did. Unfortunately, they born in that particular parents, to that particular parents, and because of the parents mistake, these people are getting suffered, and even though without any mistake in their life also. So guys, it's not about you. You are also going to give any birth also, make sure. And because of your whatever the healthy poor healthy lifestyle habits and whatever the lifestyle habits which are going to have, nowadays it is becoming trend that night rides and late night eatings and late night parties and all, which are all going to affect in lot of ways. Now you don't know the pain, but imagine that you gave the birth to a cancer son and daughter. How much pain it is going to be for you in terms of you going to the hospital every day to checkups, and every day you are waiting for the queue and all. Now by enjoying late night, you will think that this is what the fun, but the real fun will come in the later part. Even though how many things you take care of the right, but sometimes because of your fate also some things will happen. But there are so many things are in your control only if you can take care of. And if you can take care, then you can avoid so many things. But unfortunately, a lot of people are not even having that basic common sense and started behaving like as if this is the life I want to enjoy. Now you are enjoying, but every enjoyment what you are doing is having some consequence in the back end, and that you need to also aware of, then you enjoy accordingly. Otherwise you will be paying a very big price in your life. Okay, and this is one more big thing, obesity. And generally we think that we got okay. If you see the people generally in the family, their father and mother have that obesity and their kids also have that. Why? As I said, the lifestyle habit and food habits what they prefer, and these people believe that my genes cannot be changed. But if you go to gym for next 4 or 5 years and take care of the healthy food and take care of, you become tongue conscious, then anybody can be transformed. And if you see in Instagram also, there are a lot of people become normal by eating and by taking care of their life. But unfortunately, a lot of parents think that okay, she is like me only and she is also going to be like that forever like that. But it's not true. You can change yourself by taking care of your health properly, by having the right amount of exercises and the right amount of food. And then the depression and anxiety, it is going to be the most important factor for every other diseases. Okay, if you are more depressed, then there is a high chance of you getting diabetes and heart attack and cancer and so many things. So there was a study conducted, and in that study there was a World Health Organization revealed that out of all the diseases, 90% of the diseases are caused by only stress. Okay, which I explained in the stress management presentation also. The World Health Organization told that after researching a lot of years, they told that most of your all the health issues are all contributed by just one factor called stress. And that stress is because of our poor lifestyle habits, because we unnecessarily waste our time, and by the end of the day we have exam tomorrow, and then we get stressed and we don't prepare from the day one. And then we wait and enjoy, and then before one day we get over stressed and undo, and we spend unnecessarily on unnecessary products. And then when there is a health emergency, and then we get stressed and we don't know how to manage our money and all. So the time and energy, everything related to the stress only, all the major health issues are all because of the stress. And if you want to know more about the science behind the stress management, go to English Therapy YouTube channel. I have explained very in detail about stress management and stress, how stress is created, and these things you will learn from that. So as I explained that most of your diseases are come from diseased thinking. There is a fault in your thinking, and because of that only it is happening. And the recent study after this epigenetics started coming to the picture, previously people used to feel like all the diseases are because of your genes, but now they, once they started doing this research and understood the new science of epigenetics, now what they told that only 1% of your diseases are because of genetics, okay, because of your genes, and remaining all the diseases are coming because of your epigenetics in terms of your, because of your mind. If it is, if you are having the wrong mindset, then you are going to have a wrong epigenetics, and if you have a good mindset, then you are going to have a good epigenetics. So, and autoimmune disease like arthritis, and there are some other I am not exactly aware of, but there are, I have seen that arthritis something, something they mentioned. So autoimmune disease nothing but, I'll tell you, generally your immune system is designed to conquer with a different external, like when you get a fever and when you get any problem, then your immune system is going to cure your diseases, right? But what happens is your immune system is going to kill other cells, the healthy cells. Means they are supposed to kill the foreign cells, whatever the cells which enter as a, suppose in your cell, like suppose corona you got, right? And at the time corona cells enter into your body, then your immune system is going to kill the corona cells so that you will be more immune. But in some people cases, their immune system is going to kill their own cells, not the corona cells. In that means you will get a lot of more diseases than normal people. So be careful with that. And this is also happens with your poor lifestyle habits. And then here, as I explained, epigenetics is a science. It's a new science that explains how you can silence or activate the genes through. Okay, generally you have already cancer cell, but if you can able to take care of your lifestyle properly, then you can silence the cancer cell. You can completely eliminate the cancer cell. You can mute the cancer cell. But if you are having very bad lifestyles, even though normal cell also will act like a cancer cell, will become like a cancer cell. So this is what I want you to understand. This is the science of epigenetics. And how it happens is, one important element is diet and stress. As I said, this is going to be much more. And why diet also, the food which you consume will become chemical. And if you are eating the right amount of food, and then your blood is, mixed up with the good chemicals. And if you eat all the negative food, then your blood is mixed with the negative, negative harmful chemicals, and then the cells will be damaged, or DNA will be changed. And then emotional states, generally, as I said, like we are all going through different emotions nowadays, sad, and a lot of times feeling jealous, and having so much of negative, negativity about the people inside the mind. These are all going to cost your own life, not others life. And negative emotions are something which you are carrying for a long time, can have significant impact in a negative way. So, and the last one is beliefs and thoughts. This is where the entire science begins. Everything starts from your mind. And what beliefs you hold and what thoughts you carry is going to have a lot of changes in your genes, in terms of DNA and in terms of your diseases or health. So make sure to have a positive beliefs and thoughts, then everything else will be completely changed. And the last but not the least and very important factor is environmental exposures. As I have explained a lot of times, what it is, how much important it is environment. As I have explained in willpower versus willpower environment, presentation also, how much important it is to have a good environment. Being a person in your family, it is your duty to create a good environment. And if you always started having a lot of fights and lot of, every time so many quarrels and so much of disturbances, that is going to create so much of stress levels and anxiety and a lot of problems, and that creates a lot of health problem. Everything is interlinked. And you also make sure to surround yourself with a good environment, and with a good people, and with a good surroundings, so that every time go to nature and spend some time there, that also have a lot of impact on your health. And as I said, genes are like a loaded gun. Okay, already cancer cells and everything is there, but they will not express on its own. But if the environment triggers it, then it is going to completely shoot you. So in the same way, the genes are like a loaded guns, but it is, the environment is going to pull the trigger. And if you are having the wrong environment, then it is going to pull the trigger and it is going to kill you only. But if you don't have a, if you have a proper environment, then it is already there, but it is not going to harm you, and it is going to be there. Every cell, all the negative cells which you got from your parents and from your ancestors will be there inside, but they are all not going to have any impact on you. Even though you have a cancer cell also, nothing is going to happen. Even though you have some of the other related diseases also, nothing is going to happen. But if you are constantly surrounded by the something, it's like I will tell you simple example. There is a fan, there is a switch. The fan will not turn on unless until you go and press the switch. In the same way, your genes are also like a switches. They will be like act like a on and off. But who is going to turn on and who is going to turn off is your environment decides. And just be mindful of the environment which you are surrounded by, and be surrounded by the good people and positive people, and consume the positive content in terms of books and in terms of audio books and media content and watching the videos. Then your life will be in a much more good way. As I have said, right, generally I'm the person who is very healthy, and as I always take care of what I eat properly and what I consume to my mind, and I also surrounded myself with a very positive people, and because of that my health has improved so much significantly. And as I said, my blood is also so pure in terms of having so much of oxytocin, lot of oxytocin, lot of good chemical, feeling good chemicals, because as I do more and more hard work, and as I do more and more good work, and I'm getting more good appreciations and good chemicals into my body, and that is what causing me to have a very good body and good health. So for everyone it applicable, and this is something is a science which you need to understand. And then, as I said, there are already a lot of genes were programmed into you. There are a lot of genes are already there. How you can change the programming, I'll be talking about in the next Saturday session. And that is going to be even more mind blowing in terms of what exactly happened. You have done knowingly or unknowingly so many mistakes in your life, but you can reverse them. Like the way I did in my life, I did so many mistakes in my life, but how I reversed my life by doing some kind of practical tools, by applying practical tools and by following certain methods, I am going to share in the next Saturday session. It is going to be even more beyond your imagination. If you have a patience and if you can listen, then I can give you the knowledge which is necessary for you. And to create this presentation, as I said, it's been from past 6 months. I've read these two books. Okay, so the book name is called Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, and the other book is I'll talk about this in the next Saturday session. The other book is The Honeymoon Effect by Bruce Lipton, and these two are psychology books, but it will have a lot of biology. I explained for you in a normal, simple way, but this will have so much of technical terms. But if you are really interested and if you have a lot of experience in reading, then you can read this book. And the book name is The Biology of Belief. Okay, how your belief system will change the biology of your body, I've explained, right, generally in detail. In the same way, this book is containing so many examples and so much of even more deeper science. But if I give that much science to you, then you will sleep in the class only. Okay, that's why I've just made it normal science so that you can understand what I'm trying to explain. But it's the basics. Okay, there you will see in depth of science, but generally this is what the basics are about. And understand these basics so that it really helps you and saves your life.